does his research. It's a daytime Emmy. It is what it is.
All right. Well, let's do a little intro.
Okay, fantastic.
Thanks for doing the podcast,
Thank
Robby.
you for having me.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
We met
Recently.
via Jessica Kelly. Do you know Jessica Kelly?
No.
She's a Canadian. Maybe you don't know that's how we met.
No,
but
I don't know that.
I was doing the Canada Day show at the Improv.
Yes.
And Jessica's like, I'm like, I need more Canadians. She's like, Robby. I was like, that sounds great.
But are you Canadian?
Yes.
Okay, I keep erasing your Canadian.
Why would you do that?
I just don't. You seem LA, like you seem like you've been here forever. Like
I've been here a long time.
Register you as where from Canada?
Vancouver. The good part.
There's nothing doing in Vancouver.
There's nothing doing?
I have 2 sisters there.
Mm-hmm.
Love them to bits. Shout out. But, Vancouver's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's that.
Beautiful British Columbia.
It really is?
Well, there's no industry there.
No. There's no of any industry, not just entertainment industry. I would argue there's no... It's not like they have like a big like private equity sector. Like there's nothing there.
No, there's like electronic arts and I think forestry. Yeah. And old money. There's a lot of just people who are already rich.
It's like when you learn about Canada and history. It's like they were good at fur trade and lumber. And they're still doing that in British Columbia. It's still the fur and the lumber.
I hated Canadian history in school because everything was like the river by Quebec. It's like we spent like 3 years learning about how stuff came through the river by Quebec. I'm like,
I thought they were just tailoring that to us because I was in Quebec. I was in Montreal. But it's interesting to know that also on the West Coast, you were getting that. Because I was like, wow, everything came through Montreal. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, basically, here we are again. You know, Columbus or whoever we learned about that I don't remember. But
they were like, we had our own guys.
Louis. There was like a lot of Louis.
Petit. Was Petit somebody?
Petit feels.
There's just some guy named Petit.
Yeah. Petit. There was like,
and there was like
Trois-Rivières.
Yeah, the Trois-Rivières.
This was like a big issue at one point, and then Quebec City was established, and then Montreal, and then you get into Chicoutimi and Abitibi-Témiscamingue and godforsaken places of Quebec. Shout out to all the folks over there.
But you speak fluent French then?
You know what? I used to speak fluent French. I have to stop saying it. It's at a point that I've been saying it now. I've been here for a few years now, and I'm forgetting a lot of my French.
Yeah, me too.
I really didn't think that would happen. I'm in kind of denial about it because I do speak fluent French. Here's the whole thing. I understand still completely, and my brother-in-law is French, and there's still a lot of French in my family. But yeah, to speak it, I was just speaking French the other day. Somebody was over, and I just said enchanté, like, when I met them, and they said, oh, tu parles français? And I was like,
un petit peu.
Non, je comprends plus que je peux parler maintenant parce que je pratique plus. Like, I don't practice anymore.
Yeah.
I can watch it fully. Like, if there's a French movie, I love to watch that and see, and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally held up. But I really it's the kind of thing you really have to practice. Like
I'm the same way. Like, my kids are in French school here.
Nice.
And I can fully understand, but I search for words. I could read it. I could watch a French movie.
Same.
But like, yeah, I don't have the conversational aptitude anymore. Which sucks. But I'm sure it'll come back.
Because it was so cool. I know if I was a year there, which God forbid, that would also be a calamity in my life.
Why?
To like be a year in Montreal, that things have gone awry. If that is the case.
You mean like your career has gone backwards?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
If I end up like things have gone awry, like do a house check on me, guys. Like if I've gotten a place there, please. But my French would skyrocket.
It would be amazing. So even like I went to Montreal a couple years ago and I was like, oh, but they speak a lot of English in Montreal too. So you don't have to try. It's not like France.
No, and France, it's a different French. It's a much nicer French.
Yeah.
The French that I learned is barely French. I'm sorry.
Oh, you have... Okay, well, I mean...
What?
We have to talk about the phone.
Oh, we have to talk about the phone now. Okay. Go ahead.
You have the light phone.
Yes.
You're
aware of it.
I'm aware of it.
Yes, I have a dumb phone. So this is what it's called. It's called a dumb phone. It's the light phone. It's a non-smartphone. It has, what do I have on here?
Has no apps, right?
It has no apps. Okay, what do I have? I have music. Okay, I have a phone, I have alarm, I have music, I have about 30 songs, Linkin Park, Eminem, Evanescence, all the hits.
Okay.
And then settings.
Nickelback?
And that's it. I don't have Nickelback, but they've had a couple good tracks.
Yeah.
I would not download a couple of their songs. I can only really have about
And you
40
still have
songs.
a cracked screen, so that's still part of it.
Yeah, that's still a cracked screen. I just cracked it the other day. By the way, does it work? The point of this, obviously, is I wanted to find more balance with social media. Obviously, I'm a writer and comedian, and I need social media. I just don't need it all the time.
Right.
That was it. So I keep my phone at home. I do have, I write a lot of comedy on it, so it shows I bring it, but it doesn't have any service. It operates as a small notebook, as a much more portable notebook.
So you just have a phone. It's almost like a mini tablet.
It's a mini tablet. Yeah, that's how I use it. And then at home, if I want to throw something up on Instagram or tweet or whatever, I throw it up there and I leave the phone. By the way, I've had some semi-viral tweets. It hasn't affected anything that I do. I just figured at one point, a couple of years ago or so, I was getting screen reports. It was saying, you were on your phone 4 hours. You were on your phone. What? I don't need, that's not where I make, you know what I mean, my money. So for me, it was like, if I'm an influencer and I have friends who make a ton of money on this stuff, and great. If that is your business, by all means. And it very well could become my business. And at that point, I would readjust. But for now, it didn't feel like I needed it 24/7. I'm not getting the, I'm not doing like green tea sponsorships or things like this. I'm just doing what I do. And I still use it. I just have more balance.
Do you feel that we get tricked into it, like into believing that that's our business?
Well, I think it's very hard to fight multi-billion-dollar corporations. Like, I'm not going to go up against Facebook. They know what they're doing. They're hiring scientists. They're looking at milliseconds of when I look at stuff. Same with Instagram. Like, I'm not even going to try. I'm out.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, I'm not. If you're telling me you know this all about, I believe you. By the way, I love a lot of it. Like, I like tailored ads. Yeah. I do want to look at these socks. Thank you.
Thank you for socks.
Like, they do know my taste, and that's much easier. But I don't like it. It's like anything. Balance with truly anything. Balance the way you eat. Not crazy about how I eat. I'll allow myself treats, like if I'm in the mood. But I also don't eat like crap all the time.
Right.
It's just about being a grown-up. And I'm always comfortable. I think it's the way I grew up. I grew up strictly kosher, for instance. So I'm always comfortable with temptation.
Like, and not divulging into it?
And not doing it. Like when I was a kid, all I wanted was a nugget.
Chicken nugget?
Yeah. McDonald's. Smell it wafting.
Not kosher.
The non-Jewish kids always had this, like, outside of school or something like this. They always went to McDonald's. But then the smell would pass. And whatever I did at home, even though I thought it was crap at the time, I was full, happy, out playing again. It just passed. So I'm comfortable with having like 90% of what I want.
Yeah, that's a good, healthy way to do it, because we're all around food and everything is around us. Our whole society is based around consuming all the time. It's crazy.
It's really crazy. So you have to, and I also didn't have very, how do I say this? I didn't have very involved parents. Okay. My parents had 10 kids. There was a lot of issues. I'm one of 10.
Wow.
I thought you did your research. Anyway,
I didn't know that's public information.
I don't know what is and what isn't anymore. But I learned to guide myself. But kids who grew up more independently, I'm somebody, it's like, people like, you've been doing comedy forever. No, actually, I was in audit and accounting and
oh, doing, nice. I have finance background.
Yeah, I was doing this stuff because I grew up poor. When I got into school, I didn't want to squander it.
McGill?
Yeah, McGill. It's not nothing. I didn't want to squander the opportunity. I also had scholarships and bursaries, and I felt indebted to the school. I was like, trust me, you're not going to regret this. I'll get you every dollar back, like a crazy person.
And it's not even as expensive as like university here.
No, nothing even close. I think it was $6,000 a year, 2 semesters. It's probably like $3,000 each semester. Yeah. Which at the time, 3,000 was crazy to me.
Oh yeah.
1,000 is still like thousandaire. He's the
first time I had more than $1,000 is when I got my scholarship from UBC, and they like give you a check and you like put it in your bank. You're like, this is weird.
It's so weird. I guess in Quebec it didn't work like that. You get like, I don't know. I just went to school hoping to hear something. Like they told me it had happened, but I never saw much of the paperwork. And then every semester I would have to go to accounts and have some type of lady talk to me about budgeting. Because I was also on a bursary program that gave me money for some type of living. Because I worked at the school. I had a part-time job. I always had a job and school. And so they wanted to make sure I wasn't squandering my money. So I remember my budget at one point I had put on $200 for anything that comes up.
Emergency fund.
Yeah, I had like $200 for food. I had like $100 for my bus pass. I had like, I gave all the categories she wanted, and then I did miscellaneous $200. And she's like, what's this? I'm like, sometimes hydro, heating. They'll slap you with a $300 bill for 2 months. That's where this comes in. I'm not like, I can't be cold.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be cold? They're like, how much are you spending on heating? I'm like, this is what I spent on heating. I'm not willing to budge. Like, I should be freezing?
They were trying to like get you to turn down.
They were trying to get me to turn down my miscellaneous fund, which
I
felt was already low. $200
a month?
A month for a kid, for somebody who's 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean, that's really $50 a week. So you could, one mistake a week it's gone.
It's gone. So,
but you did the program, you became an accountant.
Yes. I worked at KPMG.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to KPMG. Phil Mickelson representing the hat.
Yeah.
I did at one point have a full KPMG tracksuit.
Yeah, you did.
Which I really regret giving out. They did this program at KPMG, like ambassadors for students, like where we would recruit from the business school the next year's interns. And I was like, of course I want to do this. And they gave us these tracksuits. It's like the most corporate, cheesy thing alive. But I'm really good at getting away, like giving things away. Like before Mary Kondo, there was me.
There was you.
You're the original. Don't know.
There was Robby Hoffman.
It was me. I literally almost keep nothing. Like, how you go to some comedians' houses and all of the work that they've done. Don't look over there. All of the work that they've done is up on the walls and posters. You would have no clue what I do. There's no trace.
Because you don't like clutter. You just don't like the self-promotion.
I don't love the self-promotion in your own place. Like if I had when I have a separate office, I don't mind it. And I do have an I'll put stuff up, but I also, as art, like art. So I don't know. It would have to be, it's not like I'm against either. It's just, I don't like clutter and I don't love feeling attached to things that much. Because
where do you put your Emmy?
The Emmy is the only thing that's out.
Okay.
And I do feel like the Emmy is out because, and that kind of trumps a lot of the other. Like, what am I going to put a poster for my Fringe show up?
Yeah,
when the daytime Emmy is like, there's no, it's just like, okay, here's a hint of what's going on here.
Yeah, this is, if you need to see more, I'll pull out the scrapbook.
Yeah, and because it's a sculpture, it's like different. It's like you can't really put that anywhere. It is visible.
Is it on the fireplace?
It's right by the fireplace.
Yeah. The classic.
But it will go into the office.
Okay.
That's in the works now. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't keep a ton around. I think it was a product of me moving so much. I think my first apartment in Montreal, I was there 7 years. Shout out to Verdun. I started Verdun. Anybody listening to this knows this. Okay.
What's Verdun?
Verdun was a shithole area. It's now like the cool Williamsburg, whatever it is. Okay. My apartment was $435 Canadian a month. It only ever raised in 7 years to $437 a month.
$2.
$2. My landlord, this Italian guy,
like 10 cents at a time over a year? Or?
No, it was like all of a sudden it was a $2 raise.
Okay.
And I didn't fight it or anything. And he was the nicest man. Like literally, we would have these snowfalls that were really biblical in Montreal. The snowfalls. I mean, you can have 2 feet of snow drop. And I would, before my first class, like I would hear at 6 a.m. where it's still dark in Montreal in the winter. My old landlord, I believe his name was Giano, his name was Giorgio Giano, something like this. I can't believe I totally forget, but I know I'm in the vicinity. He would be shoveling my stairs. And for those of you who've been to Montreal, we have those windy outside staircases. The most insane place to have. Yeah. Outdoor stairs.
Metal, lots of them too.
Metal, real, plastic, slippy railings, rickety. It's like Montreal, of all places, has got to have the internal stairwell. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Most buildings you walk into, you go up the stairs. Not Montreal. There's an individual staircase to each apartment. It is the most insane architectural move.
Yeah, it keeps the hospitals in business, though.
Exactly. And he would be shoveling my stairs. Not, I think, above and beyond a landlord's responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also prepaid all of my checks January
like
1.
For the year?
Yeah, I remember writing them on his car. I give him the whole year. I don't want to think about it.
Oh, but like post-dated.
Post-dated,
Okay.
Post-dated. That way I don't think about getting a check, this and that. The only reason I've ever had checks is for rent. I've never used a check other than for rent. The check people know this. Actually, I think that landlord should account for check, like the cost of checks, because checks are like $50 for some reason. And you either
they
get
used to be free, but now not anymore because no one uses them.
Nobody uses them. They're either $1,000. You either get 1,000 of them or one.
Yeah.
It's like, can I get 20?
I thought you were going to say I paid my rent a year in advance. I'm like, that's not a very accountant thing to do.
No.
There's time value of money.
I post-dated. And because I accumulated so much stuff in that apartment, even though most of my friends would have said it was still not that much stuff, I kept everything. Like, I was very sentimental. I still am sentimental. It is an exercise that I practice. But when I had to move, it was just like, I moved to Toronto. I just had to like get rid of all this stuff. I decided to just put my whole apartment. I didn't even look through like a lot of stuff on the street.
Just like gone.
Out.
That's very LA.
Okay.
You were ready to come here.
Yeah. And everybody was taking stuff, and I put books and I put everything. And I kind of just moved to Toronto with one van of stuff. And that was it. And from then on, I never remembered or thought about anything I had given up.
You moved for comedy?
Yeah, I moved for a writing job, comedy, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Bigger city, bigger industry. Montreal, in hindsight, a lot of people, like, it happens to be, the place of the biggest comedy festival in the world. But starting stand-up there is a whole different story. You have nothing to do with the festival. There's like 3 places to perform. They're all horrendous, and it wasn't at the time I thought it was like, oh, this is a scene.
Yeah.
And I had grown up hating Toronto because if you're in Montreal, you learn to hate Toronto because Montreal has an inferiority complex. It's very strange.
French versus English.
Yeah. And then you get to Toronto and you're like, oh, the shit works.
Right.
Just fucking works.
Yeah.
And they embraced me totally comedy wise. And I did 1 million shows. And that's really where I consider me coming up because Montreal was such a slog to get on even mics or whatever. It was like you were dealing with egos of like 50-year-old dudes who, like.
It's a small town too.
It's small towny. Yeah. And they're, looking back, I could see how creepy a lot of this was, but I didn't at the time. I thought this was just the way. And then Toronto was like young and happening and fresh, or people putting on shows, even if they were just starting. Like nobody gave a shit about anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a great place for me to just like flourish and really just like start really doing what I wanted
It's
to do.
the hub of Canada's entertainment business for whatever it is.
Yeah, it's just a city that works. It's like a big American city with healthcare.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
like
much.
it's actually like just like a tolerable.
It's Chicago with healthcare.
Yeah, it's like, and it's bigger than that. And it's a really gorgeous city too.
Yeah, the waterfront and the food is good and people are nice.
The food, the shops. There's like a Polish vibe to a lot of the way the shops are set up.
Yeah.
Like they're these like old storefronts. It has a character that looks unlike other cities, but it still has that European dense feel of a city.
Walkable.
Very walkable. And I didn't learn any of this. I thought Toronto was spread out. That's all I heard. But all I was hearing about was people who live in suburbs who are commuting. That's like hearing that New York is spread out because somebody lives in New Rochelle. Like, okay, that's nothing to do with New York.
Right.
New York itself is not. Toronto, the city of Toronto, is very dense.
Yeah, it's sprawled, but like the downtown is dense, and you don't have to leave the downtown if that's your vibe.
No, and not even downtown. Like there's areas, there's neighborhoods in
in Toronto proper.
Yeah, in Toronto proper. I would say the GTA, the general Toronto, or what is it? GTA is Greater Toronto area. That's where the suburbs. That's like describing New York as spread out if you live in, Hoboken, New Jersey or something.
Yeah, totally. Or even LA is not that spread out.
Yeah, exactly. People think LA is a lot more spread out, I would say, because it's not walkable at all. And even the walkable areas, I wouldn't consider walkable.
No, I think with LA is really, it's like 7 little towns tied together.
Yeah.
Like
I
Los
see that.
Feliz,
Yeah.
Silver Lake is its own town. Like Studio City, Sherman Oaks is kind of like a little. So it's all these like little. West Hollywood's like a little town. So like these little towns, and
Yeah.
it's all
Los
called LA.
Angeles totally is spread out, but I think it's a West Coast, East Coast thing.
Yeah.
All cities on the West Coast are very spread out. Vancouver is very spread out. More
Yeah.
walkable. There's definitely walkable places. They have their Los Feliz, like Echo Park.
Yeah, and you can
Silver Lake.
bus there. Like when you said bus
You can.
pass, that took me back because like Canadians like buses. Like it's not like you take a bus in America. You're like, is your life
you
okay?
okay? Yeah.
In Canada,
Yeah.
it's like totally normal.
I don't know if it was Jerry Seinfeld who said, or even Chas v'Shalom, Louis C.K., or, but one of these comedians, they had a great bit saying that nothing will propel you to better your life than taking the bus.
Yeah.
It was something like that, and I'm paraphrasing, but I remember
It's
thinking
ringing a bell. I remember hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it that hits true for here for sure. This is not a decent city.
Right, especially LA. Like I'll take the crosstown bus in New York sometimes in a pinch. But even that's it's a little much.
Yeah, it is definitely a little much.
I somehow lived there for 3 years without ever taking the bus in New York.
Yeah, I would only in a pinch take the bus, but it was always like a very vague idea, like, oh, I guess the bus will come. Like, I kind of felt like, is this, and then it would come.
Yeah.
But it was never like a sure bet versus like in Canadian cities, here's the bus. I mean, also I was, younger and in school and that sort of thing, but waiting for a bus in there's no worse transit system ever than the STCUM, which
is that Montreal?
Yeah. Saint Cum is. Now I'm just realizing ST come.
Nice.
Like perfect.
Different priorities.
Yeah. They waiting for a bus in -30 weather.
It's too much.
And it's completely white out. It is like you cannot see past your nose.
Psychotic.
I would do that every morning to school. It was still dark out. Literally kill me now.
How old?
I don't know, 18, like going to university.
University, yeah.
Like literally every single day. Oh, as like also a high school. No, by the way, I forever took the bus, except this bus was for some reason, I was in an area in Verdun where it's like the bus came twice an hour and you never were sure if it was early or late. Like, is it 20 minutes early or 20 minutes late? I have trauma from that.
Same. Like I was like, since grade 8, I think I took the bus to school.
Oh yeah.
This is what people tune in for, is our bus.
Listen, the bus is real.
Yeah. But when you moved to Toronto to do comedy and writing, did you feel there was a good scene there to really
a great scene.
Come up as a writer and make a living as a writer?
Yeah. I mean, for me, Toronto was like a scene.
Yeah.
Like there was actually no scene in Montreal. Like when I thought there's a few shows, I'm doing all the shows I could do. And even those, it's a struggle for me to get on. Yeah. I got to suck up to the guy who's like a weird creep type and be like, hey, kind of trying comedy, And they already have like, 10 other weird guys like them. It's like, well, we're going to see. We're going to be looking.
Yeah.
It's like this
They're all
type
trying
of vibe.
to get on.
Yeah. I'm like 10 years younger than all of them.
Yeah.
And like, just like such a weird vibe when I started with these like kind of, to me now looking back, older guys who were, I probably shouldn't have been at all the places I was at, but I was.
That probably still rings true for today.
Yeah, it probably rings true. It's such a bizarro. But Toronto felt like a scene. It felt like it had everybody. It had all ages, all everything, and it was a lot less of that. It was more inviting, like, hey, you're new, you're doing this thing, do my show.
Yeah.
It was more like that. It was more encouraging. It was more like we're all having a good time. We're all at different places. Like it actually, and I know there's some more of that, but there was more bitterness in Montreal about it by far. Yeah. By far. And that's a product of also maybe being in Quebec and the general bitter culture that exists there from, all of the weird language stuff, the insecurities, the je me souviens. Like there's a lot of trauma in Quebec that I don't even know about, but it ends up manifesting itself in like generally a more depressing scene comedically.
Yeah. Well, that's what's good about, I find New York very inviting. Like I went to New York first for music, and every time I met someone, they're like, let's do something. And it always happened. And that's why I was like, I got to move here.
That's it. It was like a city that wants to move. Yeah. Toronto wants to move. It's the same exact thing. Montreal would rather let's No. In other cities, we're pushing. Well, we could do this, we could do that. There's a million and three ideas happening at once. So yeah, I definitely felt like Toronto had the scene, plus the English.
What about here? Do you feel that here likes to move? Because I don't know.
I do feel like here likes to move. I feel like here's a really, I mean, in terms of stand-up between LA and New York, it's clear New York.
Right.
Okay, it's clear because there's a million great shows there. It's not like you just have, two, one hot tub, one this, one that. You have a million of those shows there. They're all fantastic. They're great crowds. They're great energy. The vibe is good, especially in the summer. You're hot. You're out. It's great.
I'm going next week. I can't wait.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. I'm going to try and plan for a September trip because I have a weekend in DC.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to try and really make like an East Coast meal of it.
Nice.
And hopefully come up to Toronto and even Montreal.
Because are you a dual citizen?
I am.
So, I mean, like the biggest hurdle for every Canadian is how do you get out? And you already had that.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. And
it's golden ticket.
They have to spend a bunch of money. And
yeah.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
How are you dual? Your dad?
I got a O1 visa to come.
Okay.
And then when I married my wife, I got dual.
Bingo is his name-o.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's something we all have to deal with. And like, you have to put a little packet together. You're like, these are all the things I've done. Please accept me.
You had to do that. Okay, so you did do that. Yeah, no, I've always kind of, you know what? I wrote myself a letter when I was 12 or something like this to open when I was 18 or 21. I can't remember. Probably 18.
Like a time letter?
Yeah. And I put it in this copper mezuzah that I built. I built a mezuzah, which is a device that Jews put on the door. It's like the
little thing like that?
Yeah, and it protects the home. It also alerts any anti-Semites where the Jews live. So
okay.
I don't know how.
It's a dual purpose?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a diminishing return, I think, on the mezuzah plan. But anyway, I rolled, instead of the proper scroll, which is like, a prayer, I rolled this time capsule letter. And I believe when I opened the letter, and I wanted to open the letter again recently, just to see if I remember even when I read it with 18. And, in those big bubble letters, it was like, I'm going to be in LA. I think I wanted to go to like UCLA or Stanford or something I heard about.
Right.
To get there. But my father was always here. My father was here when my parents got divorced. Yeah, he was in LA. And I had a big longing still for that relationship. So I always thought that I would like come, we would patch things up, sort of thing. I would be here and I would be doing this. I had no way of planning that at the time or any way out or, I just remember thinking at 12 that if I make it to 30, like by 30, and I think I wrote this in the letter, I'll either know if I'm okay or dead for some reason. Like these were my two extreme options.
Right.
Like you're either doing
very
okay,
black and white. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, Rob. We got to figure something out. So it's been, Baruch Hashem, it's okay. Better than okay. But yeah, I think I thought I would be here. And I am here. So it's like one of those things of speaking it into, but also knowing from a young age what you want, I think is totally fair.
And doing like
possible.
I remember the best advice I got was just go to LA and the net will form, or like just go to, you have to, the people who push you to, if you're in entertainment, you have to leave Canada at some point, and there will be a network and you will figure it out. And the biggest step is just doing. And there's no amount of pre-planning that can make it work. You just have to go.
Yeah, it's like what I tell my little sister for a promotion or something like this at a job. I always remember it's like, by the time you feel ready for a promotion, it's too late.
Right. It's the Peter principle, right?
Oh, what is that?
It's like, that's why everyone in their job is incompetent, because they're basically you get promoted before you're ready.
Oh, okay.
And then you're there. And then so you're basically everyone's always one step behind.
Oh, see, I use that. I think it's important.
Yeah.
I say, you don't have to be like, as soon as you're ready, it's too late.
Yeah.
So every city that I've been in where I've started to do the most in that city, I go, okay, it's time to, like, I remember I was starting to middle in Montreal at the clubs. Like there was the
so you really were there in the scene. Like it wasn't just open mics and stuff.
I was there a year and a half, but there like I was doing probably stand up there for a year and a half, but there it's like there's not that many mics and the clubs are it's very like the mic was at the club.
Right. So you're either on the on-ramp right in or you're not.
Yeah, you're kind of like, and the club is like, I don't know how many seats, maybe 100 or something, it's not like, but I was doing like a middle spot for the weekend. It was maybe my first or second time doing that. And I thought, okay, I don't want a headline here. Like I can't, if I stayed a headline, it's too late.
Yeah.
I got to go to Toronto. I got to go to a bigger city and work that up now.
Yeah.
So if I stay around by the time I'm like, and by the way, Montreal, if you're listening, I'd love the headline. There's no question.
Yeah.
But I meant coming up there and doing that. I've always felt like as soon as I can feel it, I'm close to it, time to move.
Yeah.
Keep going, pack up. And I hate change and I hate moving and I hate all of it. Yet I do it. It's the strangest thing. I looking back, I have to think like, I thought I hated these things. And I know it's weird because I had rich friends who all traveled Europe and did backpacking and I never had the opportunity to do those things. I was always working. But I always thought like, they have this zest for adventure. But a lot of those people have stayed home. A lot of those people who were didn't take any big risks.
Right. You had the zest for adventure in your career, which maybe they didn't have, and they're more looking for the stable career, which they then use to do trips in Europe and those things.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It was like also this thing of going to find yourself, that they would go find themselves. And I would always joke like, what you found yourself in Turkey behind a shish taouk stand? Like where? Oh, there I am. Like, finding yourself is by pushing yourself or being in life.
It's an excuse to do drugs.
Yeah. So I think I found myself through living life.
Right.
And we're always finding yourself, whatever the hell that means. It's like such a very malleable idea.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know if it's a real thing or it's not, or maybe like it was like, sure it exists, but it's not it's like, just live life. It will,
Yeah. It's a very loose goal on purpose in a way. So you can, no matter what, you can't fail at finding yourself.
No. You're like, oh, okay, there I am. So,
but that's important. Like what you're saying, like those, like, it's kind of like an S curve. It's like the moment you're, like, I'll give you an example from my life. Like when I was in Vancouver doing engineering, which is like recording bands, I was like, I built my way up to being like second engineer. And I was just starting to be like the main engineer. And then some guy in the studio was like, wow, like, we were working with Nickelback and it's like, this is the biggest it's ever been. They did the song for that Spider-Man movie. And I was like, oh, if this is the biggest it's ever been, like I need to leave because it's probably, that's it. It's not going to get bigger. No. This is just like a one-off big situation.
Yeah, exactly. And you take those hints and you go to the biggest. I mean, for me, it's like, first of all, I'm just realizing that the camera yours is right on you.
Yeah.
And mine is still on the side of my head.
Do
you understand that? Like, I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Do you guys understand that if I'm talking to you here, it's fantastic if Latif was sitting here? But he's not. But his is exactly where he would want it.
I disagree.
Like, if we switch spots now for the rest of the podcast.
Do you want to switch spots?
Yeah, we're doing that. Okay. Wow. Guys, you tell me this isn't 1,000 times better. You tell me this isn't 1,000 times better for me.
Okay, well, let's see.
Do you see how we're set up? We are set up. And look at you. So look, my angle is like perfect. I'm talking to you. Actually, it's kind of the same. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Once I look at you again. I actually think you could be right.
That's good to know.
I actually think you could be right. But it still somehow feels better here. Which, fine. It's your podcast. You've set it up.
I want to try what it feels like to be the guest on my podcast. So.
Okay. How are you feeling internally?
I feel good.
Okay. Yours are this is like a whole different experience, this thing.
I've realized that these are much louder than those ones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Will you be swapping them out?
No.
This is actually good for you to have done. It's like a little focus group or something, or a little experiment.
No, it's great. It's actually like sometimes when I had been recording bands for a long time and I was like, wait, I had never been in the recording booth myself. And so I did that one time too. I was like, oh, okay, to really get the feel for it.
Yeah, it's like my friend is an OBGYN.
Yeah.
YN. She's an OBGYN, but she delivers like, 9 babies a day or something like this.
What?
By the way, I think we're going to have to switch back. I'm not comfortable here.
You're not?
No, let's go back.
Okay. Is it because I was adjusting all the...
No. I don't love change. It was too much change.
Too much change?
I thought I could handle it. And I couldn't. And then you had the Nickelback trigger. All of it was happening at once.
Okay, let me get your level back.
Okay, guys, we're back. Latif wasn't that off with his camera angles.
Cool.
Yeah,
But it's also like, for me, I got married kind of young and had kids young.
How old were you?
I was 29.
That's not that young.
I mean, for this town, it sure is.
20. When you say getting married young, nobody's expecting 20. I'm expecting 20.
Okay, well, that's maybe...
My background.
It could be your background. It could be like a smaller town. I mean, Montreal's not that smaller town, but like...
Right.
And it's like, sometimes you just have to, like, when you feel... I think you nailed it. When you're not ready, it's time to go to the next step.
Yeah.
Because if you wait too long, then you're going to miss the on-ramp to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just pass you by.
Yes, exactly. That's how I feel.
And it's also like with like relationships and stuff too, that can happen too. It's like you could spend too many years like living together, or too many years keeping your relationship at one level. And in Vancouver, I don't know if maybe it's like this in Montreal, but in Vancouver, like there's so many relationships. I had friends that would be like live together for 7 years and then break up.
Yep.
Not because they weren't good together, but because they kind of like missed the on-ramp to go to the next level.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Sorry, I'm adjusting this so this isn't blocking your face when I'm speaking to you.
I like that. That looks good.
Okay.
Do you want to come on as a permanent producer?
Guys, you know what? I have a lot of skills that I haven't yet been able to work on. I think this could be one of them.
Emmy.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that with relationships. I had friends recently who got together at COVID, and my friend in particular is older.
Yeah.
In their 40s, this type of thing. You got to get married. That's it. You love it. Like,
if you're with somebody and that's what you want,
if you're with somebody, I think the older you are with these things, the quicker you can make those decisions, because you know what I mean? So people who are getting into a relationship in their late 30s, 40s and going, I don't know, forget it. Then you can't.
Do you think it's harder though? Because now you have, I feel like if I waited longer, it would be harder because I would have more life experience and I'd be more judgmental of my choices. But when you're younger, you don't know any better in a way. It's like, you haven't had a lot of time to like constantly judge your own actions.
Yeah, no, both
it's more innocent.
Both are nightmare situations. You have to get really lucky.
Right. Yeah. Which nightmare situation do you want?
Yeah, it's the thing. There's pros and cons to both. Good luck to everybody out there. I mean, it's a 1 in 2, it's a 50% chance. So it is what it is. It's not like the most, we're taking crazier chances. Our chance of coming out here and doing that, is a wilder chance. So I'm, I guess, comfortable taking chances to some extent. Some I'm not. Who I live with every day is a tougher chance for me to take for some reason. And people leap into it all the time. So I don't know. It's different.
Yeah, especially when you leap into it for financial reasons, I think is the let's do it to save money. I think that's one of the worst mistakes.
No, I can't imagine. I don't even feel like it could be financially. Does it save money? I don't know.
Oh, but like if you're like,
they've done.
I don't know, if you both have roommates, you're like, let's just move in together. It'll be better.
I've always maintained having my own apartment. Like, I've never wanted that because I always thought that if I have to move in to save money, then I have way bigger problems.
Right.
Okay, I have way bigger problems. We got to really get this in order. Oh, your guy's here. We have somebody fixing. Latif lives, by the way, in a sprawling house.
This has been so good.
Okay, he lives in a sprawling house. I won't tell you where because I don't need any doxing on my account, but he's got a repair person coming to the house now. Beautiful street, tree lined. We're at the end of the street. He's got like a beautiful dead end. Again, there's a Sunday school nearby. So if his kid's if he's ever, looking to convert to something, I don't know what type of Sunday school it is, but he could look into it. What do you guys think of this angle now that it's just me and you? So I've been looking at him like this. But this is how I should have been looking at him. Or this is just maybe two looking at the camera. But I'm actually looking at the viewfinder right next to the camera where I can see. Anyway, I think we got so out of control about not being able to look into the camera. Like if I look at you like this, is it scary? So what are they coming to fix?
So my oven died, so he's fixing the oven.
Fantastic.
Well, I think, first off, I want to say this has been so fun. The time flew by.
Thank you.
We have a really good conversational rapport.
We really do. I think we're friends now.
I think we're really friends now.
Yeah.
We're kind of friends. We're getting more. I feel like this last couple months, I've seen you a lot.
I've seen you a lot because, all these new pop-up shows are happening and we're getting involved. And so, I think, the people who got out first and doing these shows, like we're all like, not still scaredy cats. Like I'm like, if I get it, I like, hit me.
Right.
At this point, just fucking hit me. So it's nice seeing you out if you ever need production help.
I need help with everything. So
we know that I'm available.
We know that I think we made some improvements. We're going to let the people decide. Yeah. I'm going to have a little extra bonus feature of us setting up the cameras. We did
fantastic.
What's it called? Musical chairs. Where
we
did
role reversal. So,
role reversal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell the people your socials, where to find you.
Guys, if you haven't already heard, I am on Instagram, Robby Hoffman, Robby. Hoffman like Dustin Hoffman, Hoffman. So Robby Hoffman on Instagram. And it's at I am Robby Hoffman on Twitter. I think that's it. I'm not on LinkedIn.
Why would you be?
I'm not.
If your old KPMG is just on LinkedIn, that'd be cool.
Oh my God. I really want, I want to reach out to them. I want a tracksuit again.
I'm sure you could find it on eBay.
Yeah. No, but I want them to send it to me. I gave them a couple years of my life. For God's sake, I'm going to write a partner there. I'm going to be like, hey, long time no speak. Can you give me a tracksuit I want to wear on stage? And can you get me the hat? Phil Mickelson hat. But I think KPMG's in hot water now.
The guy's maybe like, I'm a comedian. He's probably a comedian now, and he's asking you for stage time.
Yeah, so. Bruce. I remember this guy, Bruce. Great partner there. Montreal office. Shout out.
Shout out to Bruce at KPMG. Robby Hoffman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Latif, for having me. I appreciate you.
Bye.